Hi, I'm Robert Gray with MP3 Car. I'm sitting here with Steve from Lux Designs, and Steve did all of the Mac Mini integration in this car. So we're going to hopefully get to ask him a bunch of interesting technical questions about how he made all this happen. So, Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about the car?
Well, basically the car was given to us by Rides Magazine, which contracted this job from Hyundai. They came to us with basically an idea that they wanted to have an interactive show car where you have the Mac Minis and they wanted the internet access and all that other stuff. So they came to me kind of like a rough draft. Basically, had show me a picture of kind of what they wanted, and give me a couple ideas, and then I kind of just designed everything off their basis of what they wanted, and kind of just went off into a totally different kind of area that they wanted, where I extended the center console and added everything else in, like all the other custom parts of the car. Like they wanted a body kit, and we custom molded a body kit onto the car, the wheels, and that stuff. But
let's start with the screens here. Are they VGA screens?
The screens are VGA screens. They're made by Icon TV.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, with this car, it comes in an active headrest, so it you really can't just pop a headrest monitor into it. Just cut the leather, pop it in there.
Right.
You really had to have some thought going into it. Because of the fact that the active, they have a shroud, a plastic shroud that goes on the back,
right,
and you really can't cut into the headrest at all. So we had to look at it differently and kind of add on to the headrest, onto the actual shroud. So I took the screen, basically the bezel from the monitor, cut it into that shroud that they had, and then just built off of it. And I used like an expanding foam, little resin.
Yeah.
Got hardened it and then wrapped it in leather, smoothed it all out, and then wrapped it in leather, and then popped the screen in. We're actually they were a normal black screen with a ton of buttons on the front of it.
Yeah.
I molded out all the buttons and then had to paint the body color of the car.
That's great.
Give it a smoother look.
So you have the VGA cables. They come down through the seat, through the center console. You're back to the Mac Mini in the back. Is that the routing?
Yeah, basically it comes through the seat. On the bottom of the seat, there's an extension point, so you can actually the car is built kind of modular, where everything just is a quick disconnect. Because being that it's a Honda, it's actually like the manufacturer's car.
Right.
I didn't want them to have to be like, most places they just take a wire and they'll run it straight to the back, and then when they go to take it out, they're like, what do we do? And they cut the wire, then you got to replace the whole wire.
Right.
So basically everything's on a quick disconnect underneath the seat, so you can actually take the seat out. So there's the quick disconnect there, and then the wire runs from there all the way back up into the magnet.
That's great.
Into a VGA splitter, into the VGA splitter, into the Mac.
Right. So I see you installed some tables here, which are great, and you have a Bluetooth keyboard and a mouse, so there's really no need for a wire there, which is nice. And they stow. Is this correct? They stow down in here?
They actually go in, just kind of like drops right in there.
We'll get an aerial shot of this later.
Drops right in there, and then the mouse is stored right in there.
That's great. And one of the other things which I think is really cool that you did is this iPhone dock, which we'll get an aerial shot of later. But this thing just slides in and out, and clearly isn't a factory part, but seems to work quite smoothly, and it looks great. So
yes, there's this one for the iPhone, and then inside the console, in the front console, and the flip-up part, there's an iPod Touch that's in there with kind of the same kind of lines where it slides right in and everything.
And so this same thing is in the front.
Basically, yeah. And that's controlled all through the factory head unit, where basically I'm using the OEM cable and everything, so everything's like basically seamless like a factory unit.
Right. Very good. So, how are you powering the Mac Minis?
There are three power inverters that are in the back, 800 watt power converters. One basically runs this Mac Mini,
right,
and any internet access, the 3G cellular router.
Okay.
The other one runs the other Mac Mini in the back, and then the other one runs the airport and like whatever other little stuff that's in the car.
So there's three inverters.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So did you think about? And there's a bunch of DC to DC power adapters on the market that convert noisy car voltage into computer voltage, and you don't have to have the inverter and all that other stuff. What made you decide not to use a DC to DC adapter?
Basically, I just wanted something that was going to be very reliable, and I work with a company, Metro Electronics, and I use their inverters all the time.
Oh, okay.
So they actually, they supplied it for the car for us, and it's a safe bet basically. So
right, yeah.
I just don't want to have something that would, have any kind of noise or failure or anything like that. So
yeah,
I want to keep it safe as possible.
So one of the things that that our users like about using DC to DC integrators is that you can they come on and off with the ignition in the car. So how does that work in this car? When you turn the car off, you get to where you're going, you're getting out of the car. How do you safely shut down the Macs?
They said you can actually go in and just shut them down, on the normal screen.
Right. Okay.
It actually now the inverters, the way I wired them, there's a solenoid. It's basically like a relay. And what happens is I have another battery that's in the car.
Okay.
That powers up the relay. When you turn the car on, the relay turns on, and all the inverters just turn on their own.
Okay.
So you don't have to go and hit the switches on the inverters or anything like that. It's all seamless and it's all controlled off the ignition.
Right. So when you turn the car on, then how do you turn the Mac on? Do you have to use the?
Yeah,
okay.
That button right there. I took the Mac apart and extended the power button actually on the Mac. So I just use a momentary button on this one, and in the trunk there's another momentary button. Just hit them, and then the Mac comes on, turn on the screen.
Oh, cool. So you soldered into the blue and black wire that's in the little small wires that go into the switch.
Yeah, it's a black. They're both black. They just came out. I just opened it up, followed it in, and then soldered off of that.
Right.
All right. This is actually where the Mac airport resides, which is right here on the side. And the cellular 3G router is in the trunk area underneath everything. And then the antennas for it are back in the C-pillars, hidden in the C-pillars. This just pops up, slides back, and then you have everything underneath. Basically those are the switches. All Molex plugs, so it's easy to pop out. Same thing with USB extension that goes right into the Mac Mini. That's the switcher system for the audio. And then the fuse blocks for power distribution. If you have any problems, you just pop it in the fuse, change it real quick.
This illumination is a nice touch. And so this is where those keyboards just drop right in?
Yep, they basically drop right in.